Last week I talked about a few aspects that make German difficult, and as promised, starting today I want to dive deeper into all of these aspects, and today we are starting with genders. So as a German learner, you might have noticed that in German you have three different genders: masculine, feminine, and neuter. And every single noun has a gender associated with it. Well, it's not always one gender. Some words have two possible genders and they both meaning the same. Some words even have all three genders possible and they still mean the same. The famous example is Nutella. You can say der Nutella, die Nutella, or das Nutella, depending on where you are. And also there are some nouns that change meaning depending on the gender that you use. For example, der Schild and das Schild, and also der Bahn, die Bahn, und das Bahn. But most of the nouns will have only one gender associated to them. Der is for masculine noun, die for feminine noun, and das for neuter noun. My favorite example of this is der Löffel, the spoon, masculine, die Gabel, the fork, feminine, and das Messer, the knife, neuter. This is the holy trinity that I will always remember until the end of my life, because I find it really interesting to find three utensils that represent one gender each. So today I want to talk more about how you can memorize all the genders from my own experience. Let's get started. The first strategy is, of course, part memorization. So whenever you find a new word that you don't know, you can check it in your dictionary, and don't only check the translation from, for example, from English to German, but also the gender. So for example, you're looking for the word leaf, like tree leaf. How do you say that in German? So you're looking it up in your dictionary and then you find the word Blatt. Don't just translate the word leaf or Blatt, but also look at the gender. So it is das Blatt. Okay, now you know that leaf is neuter in German. I have a good dictionary to recommend you. It is Leo dictionary. It is really good for German. You can use it to translate German to English, English to German, or from Spanish, French, a lot of different languages. You can use it to use mainly to get the German word. You can also check the declension of some nouns or also some conjugations for verbs. It is complete, everything is there. So you can see, for example, right here, the gender is written right in front of the noun, and also next to it, you can find the plural form, which is also really important to remember. So the second tip, so it's like 1B, you can say, don't forget to also remember the plural because it will help you later. So a short reminder, the plural form in German is really different from English. In English, you can just put s or es at the end of the words. Of course, there are some exceptions, but really few. In German, you will have a lot of different options. Either you don't change the form, either you add some umlauts, you add e, you add en, you add s. A lot of different possibilities, and you need to, of course, memorize them. So whenever you find a new word, don't forget to remember the gender and also the plural form. The second tip that I want to give you is don't associate any noun with masculinity or femininity or anything like that. People sometimes use association to remember some things, but please don't associate nouns with being masculine or feminine. For example, you know the word table is Tisch, and you see, oh, table is like strong looking, it must be masculine. In this case, you are right, table is masculine, in German, der Tisch. But a lot of other things that might be also strong looking, for example, a bridge, is actually feminine, die Brücke. So if you try to associate every strong looking object being masculine, you might just confuse yourself. Even things that are looking very beautiful, like butterfly, they're actually masculine. Der Schmetterling. The third tip is especially useful for abstract objects or nouns which are longer with 2 or 3 syllables, because usually they have endings, and using the endings you can determine the gender of the nouns. For example, a lot of the nouns that end with ling are always masculine. Things that end with mus, for example, Liberalismus, Expressionismus, Rassismus, they are always masculine. Also, nouns that end with heit or kite or Schaft, they are always feminine. So Geschwindigkeit, the velocity is feminine. Krankheit, also feminine. Freundschaft, Mannschaft, Gemeinschaft, they are all feminine. So you can check the endings. You can find a lot of videos on YouTube explaining this ending trick, but honestly, I don't remember everything. I just use these few that I always remember. Ling, Muss, Kite, Heit, Schaft. There's one that is pretty annoying for me, that is the nis ending, because it is not really clear. Sometimes it is feminine, like die Erlaubnis, but sometimes it's neuter, like das Ergebnis. So it is a pretty annoying one. Don't fall into the traps. Tip number 4. Maybe you are in a situation where you can't really check your dictionary and the noun that you're looking for doesn't have an ending that is really clear for you what the gender is. You can use the plural form instead. So if you haven't noticed already, the plural form in German is basically like the 4th gender. Because for every single noun, whenever you make it into plural, somehow they kinda forget their gender. So for example, der Tisch will become die Tische. Die Blume will become die Blumen. Das Buch will become die Bücher. So every single noun will get die when they are plural. Yeah, there's no such thing as masculine plural, feminine plural, or neuter plural. There's only one type of plural. So it's kind of like the 4th gender. So if you don't know what gender the noun has, you can just use the plural form. So instead of saying, wo ist der Stuhl, die Stuhl, das Stuhl, you're not sure, you can just say, wo sind die Stühle? Where are the chairs? Instead of saying, where is the chair? Another example, for example, you want to say, the result is looking good, but you don't know what is the result. Is it die Ergebnis, das Ergebnis? You're not sure. You can just say, die Ergebnisse sehen gut aus. Just say it in plural. And the last tip, even after your efforts in learning all the genders of nouns, it happens you might not know a gender of a certain noun. I've been learning German for 5 years now, and it happens to me every now and then. And you can't really check your dictionary. You need to talk to a friend or say something to someone. It's better to just say the word instead of letting it paralyzing you. Just say the word with any gender that comes to mind, any gender that you can guess. You might say, die Bus kommt, or wo ist der Gebäude? It's better to say it wrong. Native speakers will still understand you completely. They will not question you or like, what? Die Bus? What do you mean? Or der Gebäude? I don't understand. No, they wouldn't react like that. They will still completely understand you. You can check your dictionary later on. So it's always better to just say it out, even though it's wrong, rather than letting the doubt paralyze you. I guess that's all the tips that I can give you today. I just want to mention that language learning is a long life learning. It is not instant, and you need to be patient with yourself. You need to be consistent. So with the time, the more you practice, you might not be perfect in that language, but you may produce less mistakes. And isn't that the beauty of language learning? That's it for today. I will try to cover the other aspects of German learning in the next videos, so stay tuned. And if you haven't already, please consider subscribing to the channel. It will help this channel to grow so I can give you more videos about language learning just like this, so that I, as a language learner myself, can share more tips and tricks about language learning to help you in your journey as well. See you in the next video.